Hey guys, okay, so this is day one post-service. I had my Tribrid laser treatment done yesterday. It was the second one I've ever had, and they were spaced 3 months apart. I actually technically did 5 laser treatments yesterday in one session. I did the BBL 532, which is intended to get rid of redness in the skin and help to break down broken capillaries and things of that nature. The second laser that I had done was in my submental area and just along my jawline, which was the BBL SkinTyte. That laser uses rapid near-infrared light technology to heat up the inner layers of the epidermis and the dermis to help create neocollagenesis and also help to shrink wrap existing elastin fibers for a little instantaneous tightening while your new elastin comes in as well. Both of those aforementioned lasers were not painful whatsoever. They were pretty quick, and the only thing I really felt was some heat and some minor snapping. Then we moved on to the Tribrid, which is 3 lasers in one. You have your 1927 wavelength, which is intended to get rid of unwanted pigmentation within the skin, but it also helps to give the skin a glow, and it also brightens the epidermis. Then you have your 1490 wavelength, and that's for deep collagen induction. This is going to give you firmer, tighter looking skin. And then to top it all off, you have your 2940 wavelength. This is your semi-ablative wavelength, and this will help to refine pores, texture, fine lines, acne scarring, etc. So obviously I'm very red and very swollen, and my skin feels like mild sandpaper. It's important to note that the only areas where I did the BBL SkinTyte was in my submental area, so I didn't treat my upper face. And with the BBL 532, we only treated the mid-face and just a small portion around my mouth. So all of the swelling and redness that you see is actually from the Halo Tribrid. So as you can see, I'm very red throughout my entire face. I do have some areas of pinpoint bleeding where we were a little bit more aggressive, and I'm very swollen under my eyes. I tend to accumulate a lot of moisture content in that area post-laser treatment. Another very unflattering area where I always tend to collect the most moisture post-laser is in my submental, so I get a nice little double chin going on after treatment. Not everybody's going to react this way. This is fairly unique to my physiology. You can clearly see the demarcation where we stopped treating, so we did treat my entire neck from side to side, all the way up to my forehead. You can also see how red I am compared to the areas where we didn't treat. I'm also starting to get a lot of coffee ground effect on my neck, and this is indicating that pigment within the area is being metabolized out of the skin to reveal brighter, more youthful looking skin. One side effect of laser that I'm not particularly fond of is that it does temporarily exacerbate any existing fine lines or wrinkles. So during the downtime process, which is typically about 10 to 14 days for most people, depending on how aggressive your laser treatment is, you may notice that your skin looks worse before it's going to look better. I also wanted to mention that I purposely requested that we didn't treat too close to my lip line, so that's why you can see a small portion of untreated skin. So today's post-care protocol is going to be very simple. I can cleanse the skin using a very mild and gentle cleanser while using lukewarm water. It's important during the first 72 hours to steer clear of anything too hot. So no steamy showers, no saunas, and no strenuous activity that can cause excessive amounts of perspiration. So I'll be cleansing my skin with a mild, gentle cleanser, and after gently patting my face and neck dry, I can then move on to using an antimicrobial spray that's approved by my provider. Depending on how you react, your provider may also provide you with an anti-inflammatory cream, but this is going to be dependent on skin type. My provider also applied exosomes post-treatment, and I do have a little bit of that serum left over, so I'm going to apply that today after cleansing. Human exosomes are tiny lipid-bound vesicles, and they can be derived from many different areas. The exosomes that I'm using are derived from stem cells from human adipose tissue. These exosomes are amazing at helping to mitigate inflammation, but also skyrocketing your collagen and elastin production. And most patients report expedited healing as well. So today's rules are very simple. Mild cleanser, applying an ample amount of post-treatment hydration, staying out of the sun, which isn't going to be too hard because it's going to be raining here in LA all week. Okay, that's going to complete the check-in for day one. Hey there, it's day 2 post my laser service. As you can see, some of the red has turned and oxidized into a brown red color. I'm feeling quite a bit tighter and more dry today than I was yesterday, and although I'm not in any pain, I do feel a little bit itchy sometimes throughout the day. Areas that are bothering me a little bit more so today than other areas are right under my nose, above my upper lip, and a little bit in my submental area as well. Those areas feel tight, dry, and a little bit itchy, and they've scabbed over just a little bit more so than other areas. Now I usually shower twice a day, once in the morning and once in the evening, but because my skin is a little bit more dry than normal, I'm avoiding washing my face in the mornings when I shower. I don't want to strip too much of my natural oil production out of my skin while I'm healing. I'm actually just about to take my shower, so I'm going to use some gentle cleanser, and I actually still have some of my exosomes left over from my treatment date, so I'm going to apply those along with a little bit of plant-derived squalene. The exosomes are going to continue to repair my skin at a more expeditious rate than without, and the squalane is going to help to seal in all of the moisture so there's no moisture loss throughout the evening, especially since we're in winter and the heater's running a little bit more frequently. So right now, the surface layers of my skin have sort of scabbed over and created a rough, dry texture. You can still see visible signs of pinpoint bleeding, as well as some light scabbing throughout my face. It feels like sandpaper, but once that starts to fall away and turn over, it's going to reveal fresh baby skin underneath. I'm still dealing with quite a bit of swelling under my eyes as well as in my submental area, but it's actually better than it was yesterday. If you're someone like me that tends to swell post-laser treatment, it's a good idea to drink plenty of water to flush out your system and try to mitigate your sodium intake. One thing to note that's kind of interesting is that when your skin gets tighter around the mouth, it makes brushing your teeth a little bit harder because you don't want to open up your mouth too wide while brushing, potentially causing micro tears within the scabbed areas. So if you're going to brush your teeth, it might be a good idea to maybe get a child-sized toothbrush. Be gentle, go slow, and have plenty of mouthwash on hand. Okay, I'm going to finish up this check-in with some photos and I'll see you guys on day 3. Okay guys, welcome to day 3. Today, so much of my swelling has come down under my eyes and in my submental area, so I'm really happy about that. And my skin is starting to flake off in areas of most prominent mobility, such as around my mouth and around my chin. I'm also starting to experience post-laser purging. This is one of my least favorite side effects of laser. Usually after I undergo a laser service on my face, I'll start experiencing post-laser purge on days 3 through 7. It's nothing too crazy, it's just little breakouts here and there, and this does not happen to everyone, it just always happens to me. The energy from the laser can overstimulate your sebaceous glands and prompt them to overproduce oil production. Luckily, this doesn't last very long and it doesn't tend to be too dramatic. So today, the areas that I did experience some pinpoint bleeding have fully oxidized and turned more of a brown hue than a red one. And the same can be said for the majority of my face and neck as well. So this tells me the rest of my face and neck outside of my mouth and chin area are getting ready to turn over as well. My skin's also not as tight as it was yesterday because the drier areas are starting to give way. So I'd say all in all, everything that typically annoys me post-laser service is starting to calm down. At this point, it's really just a waiting game to see when all of my dead skin cells are going to start to fully exfoliate themselves. Once that occurs, I will be left with pink to red skin underneath, but with proper skincare, that healing process should be expedited. One more thing to note, if you're a stomach or a side sleeper, the healing process might be a little bit more annoying for you because you do really need to sleep on your back. And that's been something that I've been struggling with. Because I'm typically a side sleeper, I haven't been really getting a full night's rest. So just take that into consideration so you can set up your sleeping arrangements in accordance with that. Okay, so that's going to do it for my day 3 check-in. I'm about to take a shower, so I'll sign off with some photos. Hey guys, day 4 check-in. So today, a lot of my redness has subsided and I'm starting to flake quite a bit. It's really sexy having micro flakes of skin falling off all around you. But this is something to get excited about because my healing process is moving right along. So today, my redness has subsided quite a bit. My skin is really starting to turn over and I'm praying that my skin is healed enough that I'll be able to shave this evening. It's been driving me crazy not being able to shave. Although I'm still showering twice a day, once in the morning and once in the evening, I'm only washing my face in the evening times. As mentioned in an earlier check-in, I'm just making sure not to overstimulate my skin or dry it out with too many washes. And I've been trying to make sure to do these check-ins for you guys at the same time every day, so it's been an actual 24 hours in between takes. So I am about to hop in the shower, and when I'm done, I'm gonna go ahead and take a look to see if I can shave, and if so, I'm just gonna keep it really simple with the after shower moisturizing. Tonight, I'm gonna put on some multi-molecular hyaluronic acid with some ceramides and B vitamins. This will help to supply the skin with the nutrients it needs to continue to heal, and the ceramides will offer extra moisturizing as well as lipid barrier protection. And of course, the hyaluronic acid will help to maintain optimal moisture content within the skin. I'll also probably go ahead and throw on some multi-peptide serum to help support the neocollagenesis that was created by the laser. And then I'll seal everything in with a few drops of squalane. And then tomorrow on day 5, I can probably go ahead and resume my red light therapy. Red light therapy will also help to encourage and expedite healing. It'll also help with any of the residual inflammation post-laser. But the reason I usually refrain from doing it for the first 72 hours is sometimes red light can dry out my skin a little bit. So although it won't hurt my skin or hinder the healing process, it could cause unnecessary further irritation by way of drying out my skin. So just to recap in a quick check, you can see that the majority of the redness has left my face as well as my neck. I'm still dealing with some scabbing and microexfoliation happening under my nose and throughout my face as well as my neck, but it's really starting to turn over and flake away. I also still have some residual scabbing in areas where I had some pinpoint bleeding occur, but those wounds are closed and it's nothing to worry about. I also wanted to mention brushing my teeth has become a lot easier, and at this point I can start sleeping on my side again as long as I'm careful not to put too much pressure on my face. So that's gonna do it for my day 4 check-in, and I'll go ahead and close out with some photos. Okay, I am so excited for day 5 check-in because my skin is finally smooth, the redness has subsided to about 80%, and I'm starting to look like my normal self again. There's obviously still some residual redness, especially around my mouth and throughout my face, but that won't take too much longer to subside completely. My favorite part about the post-care treatment is when all of the dead skin starts to finally turn over completely. Having all that dead, scaly skin build up on your face just kind of feels like a thick, rough mask, and I am all too happy to get rid of that. So my neck is still struggling a little bit. It doesn't turn over as quickly as the face. And I'm still a little sensitive in certain areas on my neck when I'm washing in the shower. But all of the pinpoint bleeding surrounding my ocular area has subsided. And I'm still left with a little residual crustiness and buildup under my nose above my upper lip. But that area was hit really hard. And I still have a little bit of dead skin cell buildup on my nose. I can feel it when I'm showering, and you can kind of see it in the mirror as well. But the bulk of the dead skin has turned over. My skin looked much smoother than it did even before the treatment, but certainly now that I've exfoliated, even my pores look a little bit more refined as well. Now I'm only 5 days out, so I have about another 7 to 9 days to go before everything starts to look entirely back to normal. At that point, all of the resurfacing has occurred, and then it's just a waiting game to watch your collagen develop and come in over the next 3 to 6 months. But aside from some of the redness around my mouth and sporadically throughout my neck as well, I'm really happy. And I did get to shave last night, so that's another reason I'm in a pretty good mood. So as always, I am about to hop in the shower, so it's just going to be a gentle cleanser. I'll probably go ahead and use a washcloth this evening instead of just my hands, ensuring to be very gentle on my neck and especially around my mouth since it's still pretty sensitive. And then of course I'll introduce some lightweight serums and some post-laser creams. But I'm back to my normal nighttime routines and sleeping patterns. So I'd say all in all, for a laser treatment as hefty as this one, this downtime really didn't take that long. Then again, I am using really great post-care, and I did use exosomes for the first 72 hours. And as mentioned in an earlier check-in, exosomes really help to expedite the healing process. But I'm happy, my skin is starting to glow and it's right on track to be healed within the next 5 to 7 days or so. So that's gonna do it for today's check-in. I'm gonna finish off with some photos. Day 6. Today's check-in is going to be really quick because I don't have too much to update you on other than a couple of key points. So we'll start with my neck. I still feel very slight texture, very minute. However, sporadically throughout the day, it does itch just a little bit because it's still healing. But aside from an overall red hue within the skin, my face is almost completely healed. I still have a little demarcation around my mouth where I had requested we don't treat, but that's resolving itself in short order. And I'm fully back to my regular skincare routine, aside from using anything too harsh, such as glycolic acid, retinoic acid, etc. But aside from that, there's not too much more to report, and I'm going to sign off with some photos.